Welcome to the Cotton Club Radio. I'm your host, Cotton Club. Listen, family, you know I got another one, and you know I'm about to go all the way in. This topic has been on my mind for a minute. Today's conversation and topic is going to be called the race war scam, family. And the reason why I call it a scam is because you have Trump in office right now, and there's I would say a rise in the alt-right extremist groups, white nationalists, white supremacist groups. They're very emboldened, so they're all over social media, all online, just spreading a lot of propaganda. They like to focus on black crime and black degeneracy and black dysfunctionality and cherry pick and just run all of these silly videos all day long and create this facade and false notion that the black community is like the people on social media that they're, watching every beck and call every day. Real intelligent people know social media, it's a figment of reality. It's the reality that people want to create, people want to believe. But I want to get back to this race war scam, and before I break all of this down, I want to talk directly to the white supremacist content creators. The ones I'm talking about, the ones that feed low vibration propaganda to build a following because they think it sounds good or it sounds cool to talk about a race war and our country falling to Armageddon. Everyone wants to know what a race war would look like. You see some white supremacist nationalist groups online, saying a lot of outlandish things and, creating this facade of an inferior, idiotic, backwards black people in their minds. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into how fundamentally and military sound black folk are, because we don't give away secrets on this on this channel. But I just want to talk to those people, to the white nationalist groups, about their race war, because it's really their race war. These people are salivating out the mouths for warfare. Well, let me just talk to you for a second. Race war would lead to social and political instability, number one, making us vulnerable to foreign invasions. Once the power grids go out, then we all suffer. Blackout, guerrilla warfare, you understand? The government would declare martial law on all citizens to regain power. Militias who resist will be met with brutal force. Lives will be lost. It will be the beginning of the end of the America we know today. I hate to shatter your dreams, your wet dreams of warfare and what a race war would look like, but that's what it would look like. Let's talk about reality, because it seems like not many of these alt-right people actually live in reality. They live in these capsules, these bubbles, within their communities where they all spread false information and they salivate out the mouths about black people and this myth about black criminality, ultimately to avoid confronting real issues in their own community, such as school shooting, white violence. That is underreported. Let's keep it funky. Let's keep it real. Let's talk about their intrinsic xenophobia and anti-black racism, pedophilia. I mean, there are so many issues going on in the white community at large. I don't understand how these people even have time to sit online all day talking about black people, spreading myths and propaganda like racism doesn't exist. To me, saying racism doesn't exist is like saying the Confederacy didn't exist, because we know that the Confederacy, racism and white supremacy go hand in hand. But I want to get back to this race war scam. I want to talk about this and break this down thoroughly, because it's really a trick. It's a scam and a trick to manipulate the poor white population into propaganda and violence against black people. And to be honest with you, if you study history, it's an old trick. First, it starts with propaganda, put out a bunch of falsehoods about black people to grow animosity from the white community toward the black community, animosity and anger. Secondly, they secure all weapons. Weapons have to be secured. You'll start to see a lot of white nationalists start basically buying out the gun shops. And then third, make sure black people can't have guns, okay? Make it very difficult for black people to purchase a gun. Make sure black folk are disunited, and not on the same page with each other. And then fifth comes the violence. And we know this because if, history, if not corrected, and accounted for will repeat itself. You can study Wilmington, North Carolina, the massacre that took place there. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, and all of these race massacres propagated, delegated, and demonstrated by white supremacists that all had one thing in common: white fear and anti-black hatred, racism, and bigotry. Why are you saying all of this, Cotton Club? Well, I'm saying this because people have to understand, this race war scam is a scam that's basically leading the white population into a black hole, because there's no coming back from that. You understand? Guerrilla warfare. As I said before, you're talking about the power grids going out. Guerrilla warfare is ugly. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when we talk about war, people don't understand the magnitude. Men, women, children, decolonization and what that looks like. We're going into a collapse. Armageddon. So yeah, people will, play games. People like to massage their egos and power trip. I heard some white supremacist female online talking about, if there was a race war, black people would lose because black people can't shoot and they miss and all of this. That's called propaganda and idiocy. There are very highly trained militant black people in America who do not want revenge or who do not want to harm anyone. But if need be to defend themselves, they will protect themselves and their families. That's the reality. And let's talk about the dangers of race war propaganda while we're at it. This is more harmful to the white community than it is to the black community. Mainly because the black community, let's keep it funky, we don't have nothing to lose. We've already suffered and survived 400 years of violence, degradation, systemic oppression. The white society has everything to lose. You're not dealing with slaves any longer. The American black man is no longer unarmed, illiterate, disunified, and uneducated. Many of us are focused on building our communities for future generations, not based on revenge, not based on warfare. I know there's this obsession with the alt-right and warfare. I don't know if you're playing Call of Duty too often, but warfare isn't the answer. Justice is the answer, and justice should be the only answer. But let's get back to this race war scam conversation, because the scam is coming from the alt-right, and they're the ones who's being scammed. You understand? But I want to talk to the alt-right, white folk, white nationalists, whatever you call yourselves, white supremacists, because the reality is you've always had a full deck of cards. You've always had white privilege. You've always had more resources than us. You've always had more political power, economic power, and you've always had more hatred in your heart than us. But what you don't have is a full comprehension that today's black folk are not yesterday's black folk. Let me break this down to you. So while you're living in your fantasy world and salivating on these wet dreams of black criminality and dysfunction and online binge watching, all kinds of ignorant videos while creating this mental classification that all black people are this way, what you're missing is reality. Social media is not reality, my friend. Let me talk about reality, and let me introduce you to real everyday black people. Not the people online, but I'm talking about 95% of black people in America who don't have a criminal record. Guess what? Most black people are actually productive, hardworking members of society. Could you believe that? And guess what else? Hip hop is big in black culture, but so is black church culture. So is rock and roll culture. So is R&B culture. So is blues culture. So is funk culture. So is disco. So is soul culture. Black folk are balanced people because we're a spiritual people. We are a family orientated people because we love hard. We are revolutionary. We're militant. We live with real principles, and we live by the word of God. We fought for everything we have. We have earned everything we own. We are full of love and full of admiration. We love our ancestors. We love the country that they built so we can live free. We are American. We are the only group who continues to hold this country accountable. We are foundational to this country, and we are the story everyone wants. The folks that rose from the ashes of slavery, humiliation, degradation, and hell to become some of the most influential people on the planet. We don't love war. We love peace. But we will never run, hide, and be cowardly. We are no longer walking around with our heads down. We're no longer afraid to look you in your face and look you in your eye. We're not getting our shoes dirty, walking over in puddles to give you a walkway. We're not standing up so you can sit down. We're not willing to just dribble a ball for your entertainment. We want a piece of this. We need a piece of this. We built this, and we want our cut. Before you start talking about race war and all of that, why don't you dig deep and figure out the war within yourself? Because the war is really within you. It's unfortunate that your community is being scammed. That's all I got for you. This is Cotton Club Radio. I'll check you out in the next video. Holla at me.